Hi. This is Three of Skeins Didn't Crochet Podcast, episode 117, and I am Lisa.
I'm Chris.
Well, we've got some stuff for you guys today.
We went on yarn crawl.
We did.
So there's a new one. It's called the Greater Philly Yarn Crawl. And it happened from, was it the 14th to the 17th?
Yes,
that is correct.
March 14th to the 17th.
And so our last video was like, like a vloggy thing where we tried to show a little of the stores. We went to 11 stores. So it was a lot to try to fit into one video. But you just get like a taste in the amuse bouche, if you will.
Yeah,
but it was fun. We wore ourselves out then.
Oh
the plan was that we were supposed to go to, was it 4 more stores on Saturday? That didn't work out. Yeah. By Friday, well, there was no more gas in the tank. But we had a really good time. So we're just gonna tell you about our crawl and show you, more importantly, the yarn we got. So, where do we want to start?
Do we want to go in order of store or just catch as catch can, whatever your hand catches?
Do you have them in order? Because I don't remember.
I know what order of stores we went to, but I don't have my notebook over here. So no, we'll just do it in any order.
Okay. So do we want to talk about the stores or do we want to show the yarn or how do
you know what? Let's talk about our day and our days, and then we can talk about the stores.
So the first day for us was Thursday, and we ended up at 7 stores on Thursday.
Yeah.
That was not the initial plan. The initial plan was 6 stores. We will get to how it ended up 7. But the first store was Twist Knitting and Spinning.
Yes.
And that was where we picked up our passports. So the way passports work, you pay $5 for a passport. It has all the stores listed inside. And every time you go to a store, you get a sticker showing you went to that store. And then at the end of the event, you submit your passport electronically, send a photo of it. And there are raffles based on how many stores you went to. So depending if you went to 10, 13, or all 16 stores, you will be entered into a raffle for various prizes. Plus, each store had an individual raffle. If you made a purchase, any dollar amount, I believe it was, you were entered into the in-store raffle. So I hope I win something.
Yeah,
there's a lot of raffling happening, and I would like to win something.
That would be absolutely amazing.
But Twist, they seem to also have like a weaving focus. So they had a back room that had all these like huge looms, and some of them had like projects on them. So they also sold fleece.
Yes.
So they are more than just like, well, the store is called Twist Knitting and Spinning.
Yeah.
So they're about spinning, they're about weaving. So all the fiber folk can find something at
they had a spinning room that I was in. That
Yes.
was like, wow, okay, a spinning room. So you spinners out there, if you can get to Twist, or if you can get on their website, they've got stuff for you.
So did you get anything?
I did.
So my yarn from Twist is I bought this brand once before. It's called Isager, and I'm assuming it's something Scandinavian.
Yeah, sounds Scandinavian.
So I have a little bit of like a fingering weight cotton from them, but this is a 50-50 alpaca and wool. And it's a chainette, because y'all know I love me some chainette. So I just got 2 off-white and 2 green, because these are like the colors of like one of my favorite sweaters. So I will make some sort of, probably an accessory. It depends on how far the yarn stretches. That will accompany my sweater. But this is worsted weight, and I don't work at worsted weight very often, so it'll be a nice break.
It will.
So that was my purchase from our very first store.
I got some felting supplies at Twist, because they also had a focus on felting. So they had all the felting supplies, and I thought it was so interesting that they got so specific that they had different gauges of felting needles, And there were, there was information talking about what sort of wool you'd use with each type of felting needle.
I
They
had
got
never given that much thought to
all
felting.
up in it. It was amazing. So I got a pack of felting needles and I got a felting kit because I didn't have the foam backer to felt on.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 3 different gauge needles in there, basic instructions, a foam pad, and instructions for a heart-shaped coaster, fiber not included. But I have some things I'm planning to felt, so I wanted to get some felting supplies.
So from there, it was Echo Valley.
Yes.
So Echo Valley, it's one of those stores that the building itself was actually like a little house, so it's really cute, and they had like a little porch and everything. They were the only store I saw that had art yarns.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, art yarns, they do some really, really beautiful fibers, but they're quite pricey. They have this yarn that's like, it's I think a silk, but it's got beads and sequins, and a tiny little skein of that is like $60. But oh my God.
That's what it's called, art yarns, beads, and sequins.
Yes. But it was just a cute little shop. And what did I get there? Oh, I think I got something at every store. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I think I have 2 skeins of this, but one has gone MIA. But this is Malabrigo, I think. Yeah, Malabrigo Silk Paca. So it is lace weight, alpaca, and silk. So I picked up a little bit of alpaca this time. It's not a fiber that I normally work with, but I do like it very much. And I just thought this colorway was gorgeous. It's pinks, it's purples. You're probably going to see a lot of pink. I don't know how that happened, but I'm not mad.
I'm never mad at pink.
But it's, just look at that. So I got 2 skeins of this at Echo Valley.
I'm going to just wind back one store. We're going to share Mom's haul too, because she was like, you can sew my yarn if you want to, but I don't feel like being on today. So, okay. Mom picked these 2 up at Twist Knit and Spinning. This is a beautiful, she's been like hankering after tweed yarn lately. She's just been like, oh, I want some tweed. So she found this first. And it is
that also Issachar?
I think so. Yes, it's Issachar Aran Tweed. It's 100% wool. And it's delightful. I love this shade of the bottle
Mom
green.
did what I did at the Jersey Wool Walk a couple years ago. She was basically shopping for one project. So she was looking all of her yarns. She wants them to coordinate because they're going to end up being one thing together.
Yes.
And I found my second skein. So because this is lace weight, this is, what is it? 420 yards in this tiny little skein. So excited about that. And then, where did we go?
I think we ended up at Forever Yarn.
Yeah, okay. So Forever Yarn. Forever Yarn, last year, they had the woman who runs Ewenited at their store, and she did like a little, I think they did like a brunch talk with her, and then they were selling her yarn, and then she did like a personal shopping thing with people. So they have a ton of Ewenited, and that ain't funny. It's quite expensive. They're like in kind of like a downtown area, so they're on a main street. And we just totally lucked out and got a parking. Not only did we get a parking space like right in front of their store, but the person who left some time on the meter.
Yeah,
so
we didn't pay for parking. That was awesome.
But that was pure dumb luck because we had driven all the way up the street and turned around and come back, and I just happened upon someone who was leaving his space. So we ended up right in front of the store. It's a cute little, very well lit store. I would say they have more like high-end brands.
Yeah. And I see like the taste of the owner also leans towards yarns that I consider kind of glamorous. They had Icon. And I love me some Icon. It was a yarn. It was a beautiful soft yarn, but it also had like these
tiny little sequins
built into it. So I think if you really want to make something dressy, that you'll find a lot to choose from there, and a ton of La Bien-Aimée yarns.
A lot of different bases. And I saw something I had not seen before, which was a lighter weight boucle. You know, boucle is usually like in the chunky end of the yarn scale, but this was more like, I would say, almost like a sport weight. It was a very lightweight boucle. I was so very tempted, but I knew I'd only be able to get one skein because of the price. So I was like going back and forth on it, and ultimately didn't get it. But it's on my mind, y'all.
It's preying on you.
It is. It's very much on my mind. I think they're having her back this year.
I think so. I think I saw something about
Yeah,
that.
and she's also going to be at Yarn Centric, which is the event that's right before Maryland Sheep and Wool. So if for some reason you want to meet the woman who runs La Bien-Aimée, she'll be in the U.S. later this year. But that boucle is going to live in my head rent-free for a little tiny bit.
I did not get yarn at Forever Yarn. I was very tempted by this beautiful neutral yarn that was she had a clearance shelf right outside the door, and there was 5 skeins of this yarn, and you see how it's still with me. But the yarn had no information about yardage on it, and I didn't want to get yarn that I didn't even know how much I was getting. So I was like, okay, step away from the yarn. It was 40% off though. So I was like, ugh. What I did end up getting though are these adorable flower stitch markers. I always need stitch markers. I use them very heavily and I lose them all the time. So I always look for places to replenish my stitch marker collection. And this came with a set of 32. So I can't be mad.
I, however, did happily avail myself of that clearance yarn. So she had this yarn, it's Barocco Karma, and it's 100% cotton, but as you can see, it's very thick, and it's, yeah, so it's like multi-strand. I kind of like these yarns that have like multiple strands. So there were 5 skeins left, so I just bought all 5 skeins. So there were like 4 of this taupe color and then the green. And I don't know what they're going to be yet. I'm thinking if there's enough, I would like maybe just like a vest, and the green would just kind of be a stripe across the front.
Yeah.
But as I was buying yarns, I was kind of in my head already thinking about what they would be. And that was part of the problem because I can sell myself a yarn now. So as soon as I come up with an idea, I'm like, oh, well now of course I'm going to get this yarn.
I can have this yarn.
Duh. But yeah, so I got 5 skeins of this, and so I think it was, yeah, they were $10 full price, and then they were 40 off, so it was $6 a skein. Come on.
Live a little.
Probably the least expensive thing in that store.
Yeah.
So I'm particularly proud of myself for finding this even.
The yarns were luxurious. I'm gonna
There was this
Beautiful.
hand dyed from this brand I had not heard of before. It's Nature's something, Nature's Fiber, Nature's something. Let me tell you, those colors were good. I had this orange in my hand, and it was just like this really vibrant, warm orange, but $38 a skein, y'all. Oh, the pain. Again, that one's gonna be on the list because there's a list. Yeah, I took a picture of it.
That way you can remember the
Yes, because that's some appointment yarn, okay? We gonna get back to that. But what I brought home was the clearance.
Well.
So I think then it was Ewenited Stitches.
Yes.
Ewenited Stitches was this small, cute little building, and there was like this little triangle in front of them with like picnic tables and stuff. So if you wanted to, I guess you could sit out there, and if you was exhausted from yarn crawling, which we already were by that point,
places to sit. Yes.
But we had just sat after Forever Yarn.
Yeah.
We found a place to sit outside, and we brought food with us. We knew what we was getting into. So we brought food with us. We just bought some water while we were out, and we had just set a spell. But they had a lot of a brand called Cape May Fiber.
Oh yeah.
And they also had like little things like coffee and tea and a couple of little other things that you could buy there.
That was really fun.
I love seeing how yarn store owners curate their stores.
And that was a locally produced coffee to them. So if you wanted to like bring back a souvenir of the place, I would bring back some coffee because I have a cup of coffee every day. And they had a little coffee bar for their customers. So if you wanted to, you could have made yourself a cup, which I thought was lovely. I was like, okay.
I liked all of the stores, I have to say. Every store gets an A from me. I was very, very
Everybody
happy.
was super friendly. It was really just a beautiful day.
And you think you go to like all these stores in a row that like in your head you would just compare or pick a favorite, but no.
Because you know what? They all had a different personality and a completely different selection of yarn. That's something I want to talk about later in this one too, because I think
Ewenited Stitches had some really cute samples.
Yeah.
Knitted samples, of course, but you know.
I ended up getting these needle points. They glow in the dark. They're little glow in the dark skull needle points. I thought that was so fun.
And so I think this might be some of the only hand dyed that I got. So there was a brand called Ridiculous Yarns because the owner is like Brianna or something, or Brenda. Her name starts with a BR. So it's Ridiculous Yarns. And I saw the full size skeins first and I was just like, oh, that's going to be a bit much. And then I saw that they had minis in the same colors I had been looking at in the full size skeins. So I just treated myself to some little cute minis. So these colors are, this is a Shot of Unicorn. And this is Spark with an exclamation point. And then this is Bubblegum, and I think that's very accurate. But I was thinking what I would do with these. I have been thinking for a little while now that I really just want to make a scarf. Like just a basic rectangular scarf. That's kind of where I started with crochet. I just made scarf after scarf after scarf till I got really, really bored of making scarves. But I think I might just do like a neutral color and just have this kind of running through as a little shot of something fun.
Oh, that'd be cute.
I think I'm just gonna make a simple, basic, like no stress, rectangular scarf. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Let's see.
Was it Purls of Wisdom?
I think it was. But did we have to cross that bridge to get the Purls of Wisdom?
I don't remember. Let me tell y'all, driving in Pennsylvania was something else. Now, we're originally from New York City. And honestly, I don't know if I would even have a driver's license if I hadn't left New York City. I went to school out of state, and that's when I got my driver's license. Driving is largely optional in New York. And since moving to New Jersey, driving is just the way of life. It's mandatory. There's like no way around it. But Pennsylvania was something else. So you're driving over hill, over dale, there's the back roads and where am I? And it was not, heaven help me if I had been out there at night, because there was like some Stephen King vibes happening, okay?
There was signs that like, no horses allowed on this road. I'm like, serious? Okay.
When you have to tell people? But at one point, there was, I suppose they call it a bridge, because did you see water?
Yes, I did go over.
I don't even know what we crossed over because I was so freaked out. This is literally the narrowest bridge I have ever seen in my life. If you've ever been across the Bristol Bridge between New Jersey and Pennsylvania, that's incredibly narrow. Narrower.
It's almost exactly 2 cars wide.
Was worried at first that I was going in the wrong direction, that it was one way and I shouldn't have been there, because I was like, this can't pass 2 cars. It would have been tight for people walking. And there was, on my side, there was a stop sign. So when I saw a traffic sign facing me, I knew I was facing the right direction, but I still couldn't believe we was actually supposed to drive. So when I tell you we slowed to a crawl, like actual babies crawling could have gone faster.
Yeah.
That's how slow we're going. And cars are, it was like that weirdly quiet. It's like everyone's holding their breath.
Focused, all right? You know how sometimes when the road conditions are bad, most people are just going at a moderate pace, but there's always a couple of people, act like everything is okay. Nobody was
playing on this bridge.
Okay, not a soul. Everybody crawled. It was like
my mom said that she like crunched down next to me like that would somehow narrow the car. But we made it across, but I never want to go across that thing again. Oh my, but like I couldn't turn around because there were like 4 cars behind me. It was just...
Nobody honked.
What is Pennsylvania? I don't understand. But we need to get some civil engineers, some urban planners out there to handle some things.
Crystal was like, who would plan towns like this? I was like, Crystal, you think this town was planned? Look at the houses were planned. Every house faces a different direction.
They did.
I
didn't even notice that.
When you grew up, your parents said, go ahead, build your house over there. And you just made it face whichever way you wanted.
But yeah, so on our way, we encountered that. Then we get to Purls of Wisdom,
yes,
or Purls,
of
P-U-R-L-S.
I think for us, this was the biggest yarn store of the ones we visited.
And so they had a huge selection, and they were one of the only stores that had a towel. So I got me 3 skeins of Ito, and this is just going to be a striped top. And I love these colors. I don't know if the color names are on here. I don't think so. It might just be color numbers.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. I think they're on the price sticker. Except this one doesn't have a price sticker on it. How weird.
Oh well.
This one is called Cherry Blossom, and this one's just an off-white. Okay. But this yarn is called Kinu, and it's pretty much almost exactly the yarn I had gotten from Habu. It's another just kind of like a textured silk, and it's 100% silk. This is 464 yards.
How many grams?
50.
Huh?
So
Super
once
fun.
again, we're gonna try for a t-shirt, but no promises.
Oh, okay.
But that is what I got at Purls of Wisdom. No, that was Kelborn.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think Mommy got anything else on the next day.
Got anything else on this day? Yeah. So
Did you not get anything at Purls of Wisdom?
I got this at Purls of Wisdom. I got 3 kits of circular and this is 100% cotton.
That's bright.
Oh, you know what? That's gonna be my pop of color for the summer.
Oh, look at that.
I already know what she's gonna be.
Are you gonna hold this with something?
No. I'm gonna knit it lace, so it's gonna be on bigger needles.
So you can see that.
Yeah, look at that color. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I was like,
yeah, she's eye catching.
That's my pop of color for the summer. And each of these is 100 grams and 547 yards.
So you're making like a t-shirt?
Yeah. I'm excited.
So then we went to what was supposed to be our last store.
Yeah.
It's called Yarningtown. Super cute store, really nice owner. It was like actually like in a little strip mall.
Yeah.
So parking was abundant.
Oh, yes.
Parking, when you get into like the Philadelphia area, parking is hit or miss. So every place they have parking. But yeah, they were a cute little store. They also had quite a bit of circular.
Yeah.
And they were also quite crochet friendly. There was the in-store raffle. They had gotten prizes from sponsors, and so they put together a little kit that included like knitting needles and yarn and what have you. So the owner took it upon herself to create another kit for crocheters that had a set of crochet hooks and some yarn, so that you can enter either raffle you wanted to, the knitting one or the crochet one, which I thought was very nice.
I thought that was thoughtful. I like that.
And where did I get there? Oh, I know. I didn't buy yarn at this store. I bought something else. I may have accidentally ended up with too many tote bags. We'll get to that. But this was one of the tote bags. And it says, I like to party. And by party, I mean stay home in my PJs and crochet. And since this was like biographical for me,
yeah,
I had to get this
that bag was literally made for you.
Yes, that's how I get down. And I also got some labels, so I can put like labels that say handmade on my things that I make with my hands, because right?
Hello.
So that is what I got at Yarningtown.
I am still building my collection of straight needles. So they had, I was looking for a 3.5 and a 3.25. They had a 3.5, so I snatched it up. It was literally the last one in that size. So that's what I got from Yarningtown.
Let's talk about tote bags for just a second. Here's what had happened. Because this was the first time they were doing the Greater Philly Yarn Crawl, I wanted the commemorative tote bag. So I went ahead and bought that. So here's their bag. And check the website for Philly Yarn Crawl, because they're doing a second run of these bags. They actually sold out of them, but they're going to print some more. So if you just want a tote bag, you can go ahead and order one. So this is the bag. I love these colors. I think it's so very pretty and festive.
They had a fun design.
Right? So I planned to have that one tote bag. Then I told you I went to the store and I saw my life story printed on it. So I went ahead and bought this one. Then there was another store we went to that I didn't know they were doing like a free tote bag with purchase. And so I will get to that one, but I ended up with 3 tote bags and I don't know how that happened.
I have some suspicion.
I turned my back and my tote bags multiplied. Yeah. So that's what happened. So Yarningtown was supposed to be our last store for the day. But in my planning, because I planned out a route that we would take. So the stores were more, you know how like your eyes just make patterns out of things. So the stores were more or less, to my mind, arranged in kind of like these arcs radiating out from downtown Philly. So there was like a cluster in Philly, then there like that outer ring was Northwest Philly, and then there was everything outside of Philly. So I was like, okay, we'll go to most of the stores that are outside of Philly on the first day, but we'll leave off that last one because 6 stores is a lot and we'll probably be tired. However, what I did not realize is that store number 6 was quite far from our home. And we had to drive that distance anyway. So I realized that whether we went to store number 7 or not, we were going to be on the road for quite some time. So going to store number 7 at least meant we would kind of get a break around the halfway point. So I was like, y'all, let's just go ahead and go to that last store.
And by that time, we were all high on yarn fumes. So we were like, another one? All right, let's go.
There was no voice of reason. So there was just 3 people, no common sense. It's fine. So we went to Homesewn. Now, Homesewn was also a sewing store, so they had like a lot of fabric. And all day, every store we went to, Lisa had been looking for this particular book. She'd been looking for a book called Sewing on Embroidery. No, Embroidering on
knit.
Something, one fiber on top of another fiber, okay?
A fiber sandwich.
Yeah, fiber ducking. So every time we went to the store, she'd ask for the book. No, we didn't have the book. Ask for the book. No, we didn't have the book. We get to Homesewn, and what do we see as soon as we walk in the store? I mean, there's literally like a shelf right as you walk in, and there's her book. So lucky number 7, we found her book. This is the book that she wanted that was going to cost how much to ship?
$62 shipped from
Well, that's the book and the shipping?
Yeah. That was kind of a lot though.
So she was able to get the book without paying the exorbitant shipping. But this area, there was like these trolley tracks in the street, and I'm looking at them like, I'm like driving over the trolley tracks, and I'm looking at them like, but there's no actual trolley,
and I said, Chris, look up. That's the line for the trolley.
I can't imagine how we was going to share the road. And then this trolley comes along, and I must have turned off the street. I don't know how I got away from the trolley, but there was a trolley in the middle of the damn road. I don't understand
So there's
Pennsylvania.
cars, there's people, there's trolley coming down the street. There was everything happening.
But luckily, right across the street from Homesewn, there was a parking lot. It seemed to be just like a commercial lot shared by a number of the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And we found like literally one parking space in there. And get to Homesewn, Lisa gets her book. But I myself am so exhausted. I'm like looking around. I must have looked so weird because I was just wandering around the store in a circle. I was so tired. Nothing made sense. I couldn't really process what I was seeing. So I ended up just buying, I have them with me. It's just a little notepad and a pen. I couldn't think about yarn. I couldn't think about colors. I couldn't think about fibers. I was looking at some of the fabric and I couldn't really make decisions at that point because I was just worn out. But I wanted to be in the in-store raffle. So I bought the impulse buy stuff that was near the register.
I was tired too, but I was so hyped up from finding my book. I really like the way they curated the store. It is primarily, in my opinion, a sewing store.
Yeah, they had way more fabric than yarn.
But they did have a nice selection of yarn. I did see Malabrigo. I saw a bit
There was knitting for Olive.
There was knitting for Olive. So nice, fun yarns. But if you are looking for Lina books, they had a whole selection of the books from Lina, the newest ones. And this book has sold out so many times. I was talking to one of the ladies that worked there, and she said that it sells out as soon as they get them in. They've sold more than 50 of these.
Wow.
But if you're looking for books on knitting, books on sewing, they had a nice little selection of books. They carried a bunch of indie patterns.
And they also sell online, so you can check them out.
And I saw they had a really amazing collection of linen fabric. 100% linen, yeah.
You didn't tell me.
I did, but you were...
Did I?
Yeah.
I had no recollection of that.
I know you were looking for that type of fabric, so I was like, oh, Chris, they have a bunch of linen.
I was marshalling all my resources for the drive home.
Yeah, she was gone.
So tired.
But, so it was like a really fun fabric store, and I would go back. It was really good.
I definitely... Now, like, if I go back to some of these stores, I want to just go to, like, one or maybe two of them on a given day and really just have some time to explore them. But we will get to that.
Yes.
But, yeah, so that was store number 7 for the first day. And then we're driving home. And yet another adventure awaits us because there's another... And these bridges, they're short. They're not even, like, the length of a city block. They're just...
Yeah.
Like, why are you there? The short, tight bridges, right? Like, a particularly athletic person could jump that distance, okay? So, I see this sign on one of these tiny little bridges that says 1-lane bridge. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it must mean one lane in each direction.
That's what we all thought.
I start going across the bridge and I see the line of cars that are waiting to come in the other direction because 1-lane bridge, surprisingly enough, means 1 lane on the bridge. 1 lane, whichever direction you're going, it's just the 1 lane. By this point, I have had enough of Pennsylvania. I don't understand their streets. I don't understand why their houses face every direction. I don't understand why there's so many trees. I just am like, I gotta get out of this place. By the time I hit the 1-lane bridge, I think something in my mind shattered a little bit. And all I could focus on was whatever the GPS was telling me. But we made it home without incident. But just know if you're going to Yarn Crawl, you're going to encounter some of these things, and it would be nice to not be surprised the way I was by the bridge, the too tight bridge, and the train tracks in the street, and
with a train on them.
The 1-lane bridge, which actually means 1 lane. Don't tell yourself lies like I did. So just so you know, that's what's going on out there, people. But for yarn. So that was day 1 of the crawl. Day 2, we got a slightly later start because we left home, I think, at 10 o'clock on Thursday. We left home. Lisa had a class to teach that morning from 10 to 12. So we
left
like
around
1-ish.
1-ish, yeah.
Yeah. on Friday, but we only had 4 stores to get to on Friday because we hit 7 the first day, so we only had 4 left for Friday. So the first one we went to was Kelborn. Kelborn, they weren't always a retail space. They were just a distributor,
Right.
and now they also have a very cute, very kind of like
light and airy.
yeah,
That's what I had liked
kind of
about
chic, kind of very city style
Mhm.
yarn store. I really liked it.
And they have a little bit of parking. They have a small parking lot. So
Very
that was great.
small. That we didn't know about it first.
Yeah.
So we drive past the store,
Up a hill.
hill, and we find a parking space, and we have to walk down the hill. And there's it. You know, the weather wasn't bad. You know, it was weird that Thursday and Friday, the days we went, we had 70-degree weather, so it was really nice those 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a nice little walk, you know, down the hill. But no one was looking forward to going back up the hill. But as we approach Kelborn, we see a sign that says parking and an arrow. We missed it. Okay. But we go inside. I want all the yarn. I can't get all the yarn, but I got some of the yarn. And so Kelborn was the store that gave the free bag with purchase. So it's just the bag that says Kelbourne Woolens. And this picture is a yarn they have called Germantown. And where did I get there? Oh, yeah. So I got some more alpaca because alpaca just kept following me home.
Mm.
But this is a lace weight alpaca. And it's from a brand called Kemkey Sol Bow. I have not heard of them before, but it's just a really soft, beautiful lace weight alpaca. And I got 3 skeins and yardage. It's 400 meters, so that's about 440 yards. And so I also want to do something kind of loose and lacy with this. And I kind of want to make like a tunic length vest.
Oh.
So it'll be something that you meant to wear over other things, but it'll be like nice and big and warm and cozy.
Absolutely.
And Mom got some yarn there too. This is a yarn I have had my eye on for a long time, so I'm a little jelly.
Mom got Lucky Tweed from Kelborn. Now I like what direction she's going to. She's gonna put it together in one project with this other tweed. I think that's gonna be just stunning. But Mom ended up getting 3 skeins of this. It's 100% wool. This is actually one, I believe it's made in Ireland. Yeah, it's got a genuine Donegal symbol on it. And it is, I don't know how many yards. Okay.
At least the only one.
Oh, here it is. 210 yards per skein.
This is the only one who found yarn on sale at Kelborn.
I know, but I'm not even done with Mom's haul from there yet. Mom got really lucky at Kelborn.
No, oh no, that was Yarningtown.
Oh, see, I did not know this was Yarningtown.
This was Yarningtown. This was a Premier Bamboo Fair, and it is what do you call it? Oh, 60% rayon from bamboo and 40% cotton. It feels really nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And she was originally going to get 4 skeins of this color. And I was like, get some color in there. Don't make it all neutral. So she got 2 and 2 of each of these colors. And so it's going to be a cute little summer top.
Now, I lucked out at Kelborn. Also got the free bag that I didn't know I was going to get. I was like, oh, nice. I love a good tote bag. My initial pick was this color. To me, it seemed like a totally light blushy pink, but I believe the color is actually called oatmeal. So I'm not sure what they were saying, but they only had 4 skeins of this left. And I knew I wanted to make a cardigan out of it. So I got this color, a creamy color, to put together in a very subtle.
Yeah, very subtle.
I'm going to do a very subtle color block.
Okay.
Yeah, you're always saying I have a lot of colorful
No,
clothes.
I'm just saying.
So
like,
I wanted to go. I wanted to go neutral.
You can barely tell the different colors.
I wanted to go very neutral, and they didn't have enough of either one of neutral. So I decided to go with both. I ended up getting 8 skeins of these. Now I thought they were going to be $8 a piece, they turned out to be $5.40 a piece. So I was like, yes.
I don't know how she did that.
It was totally an accident. This is Silky Wool from Navia. It's a 75-25 silk and wool. They're 50-gram balls, and it's about 190 meters per ball. Not sure what that is in yards.
Just over 200 yards.
About 200 yards per. So 8 should make quite a nice cardigan.
I think so. So
from there,
I went up the hill and got the car and brought it down to the parking lot. We didn't know it was there.
Yes.
So Mona Lisa didn't have to walk up the hill. And from there, Wild Hand was like super close.
Yeah.
So we went over to Wild Hand, and they have a whole like natural fiber vibe. So this was not a store where you're gonna find acrylic.
No acrylic. Not a lot of hand dyed.
No.
They did have one brand, Philia Fiber, but that's a local dyer.
Mm-hmm.
But they had an interesting mix of yarn.
Who's the people with the real big wool that they had?
Loopy Mango.
No, not the other one.
Oh, them too. I'm looking at I'm seeing the yarn. And I'm trying to get the name to pop into my head.
They sell only like chunky yarn. And they had this one yarn that I really, really wanted. It was the only reason I get it is $36 a skein, and I already had 5.1 skein to make anything. But it was just, it was a fabric yarn. So it was like these strips of fabric. Knit collage, there you go. And they had like these really pretty printed designs on the fabric, but it was very, very thin, 100% cotton. That's another one that's on the list now. But I didn't get that one. I ended up getting, I don't even know what this is. So they had these yarns on a table, and they said basically it was fabric or something. And I don't know, but this was something they just kind of like lucked into. And yeah, it doesn't even have labels on it, so I will have to like look up what it was.
You'll have to figure that out.
But I believe it's cotton. But I liked it because it was fuzzy.
You know what? That boucle was still on your mind.
It might have been. But I also got a little free gift with purchase, if you can see that little hand.
Oh, that's cute. It's a wild hand.
Yes, so I thought that was really cute. But fuzzy yarn, always good.
Now, what I liked about Wild Hand is not a big store. It's not one room wide, but it goes really deep. And they had little stations for different crafts. So they had a little area dedicated to felting with books and tools and whatnot. They had a little area for I think loom weaving. They had another little area for embroidery, and I just love when everything is so organized.
Mom got some ceramic beads there, like some really big chunky ceramic beads that she's going to use for her jewelry making.
And they were handmade by a local artist. So they pull from the local area a lot. They also had a macrame area, so if you want the macrame ropes. But I love getting to see all kinds of different things. Mom got this yarn. Now, when I first saw it in the bag, I thought it was Plotulopi, but it is so much softer than Plotulopi. It is called wool. It's from a company called Wool Dreamers, and it's something called Manchego wool. But it is a very
It's like unspun.
Yeah, it's unspun. But I love where she's going with the colors that she's putting together for this garment she's making. Look at that. That's going to be beautiful. And it's going to have interesting textures to it. Now, what did you think about getting around Philly compared to getting around the country stores? Because I felt like although we did more stores the day before, it took longer to get anywhere. Between the stores of Philadelphia.
And like any of the driving, let's just be very clear about that. So this was like more like city driving. The speed limit was like 25 miles per hour anywhere. And if you don't drive, it's really hard to drive at 25 miles per hour in your average like contemporary vehicle because they tend to take a very light touch to make them like go. So 25 miles an hour is actually quite a challenge. And then, and when they do speed bumps, oh my God, they're like massive. So you really do need to slow all the way down.
It's a bit of a
to
speed
get
crash.
over the speed bump. It was stressful. The wild hand was street parking, but we got lucky and found a space that was like on the same block.
Yeah.
It wasn't far away. But where did we go next? Oh, Stitch Central.
Yes, Stitch Central.
Stitch Central. Also a big sewing store. So they actually had a huge space for sewing, and like they do classes where you can like bring your own sewing machine, and they do quilting, and so they have clothing patterns, and they just had a huge selection. They had all the notions, so they had buttons, they had all kinds of findings for making bags, so they had like D-rings and different types of clasps, as well as, you know, a nice selection of yarn. So they had just moved actually, so that was a new space for them, and apparently they had just like finished setting up like the night before. So
hectic.
They had to get ready in time for the yarn crawl. But it was another just like really pretty comfortable space. They also had parking. It was a small parking lot, but it's still a parking lot, y'all.
Hey.
What did I get? Oh yeah, I only bought one skein there that is unraveling. But this is a circular yarn that is apparently made from sugarcane. I don't know how we are doing that, but yeah, it's 100% viscose from sugarcane. It's a DK weight, and I know a lot of people don't like yarns with sheen, but I do, because I'm all about like letting the yarn do the work for you. So sheen is just a nice enhancer to the fabric that doesn't really require you to do anything different. And so I'm thinking it's going to be a shawl, like a really small, like almost like a large neckerchief. But I might take a different yarn to do like some sort of trim on it. Nice. But yeah, that's what I got at Stitch Central.
I got two things at Stitch Central, but I can't find one now, so I'll just tell you about it. You know what? I'll pop a picture in. I got this. It's a sewing gauge.
Oh, for the buttons.
Yes.
I see one of those.
I want to do a couple of cardigans, so I wanted to have a tool that would help me space my buttons nice and evenly. And you can do a couple of different things with it. I'm going to be doing some research and learning exactly how to use it properly.
Yeah, because there's a few times I've done anything with buttons, I eyeballed it. It's not pretty.
And the buttons, at least you can move, but once you made the button whole, you're committed. So I got this, and I got a jewel, what is it called? Pedestal button. It's a leather button that you can screw into your knitwear. So no need to sew it on, and you can remove it easily for washing.
Oh, interesting.
And that's all I got there.
So our last store on Friday was Luv2Knit, and that was in like almost like a mall. It was like a big mall building, and then there was a strip mall alongside it. So when we first got there, we couldn't see the store, but there was like a sign up front that said it was there, because there's like some construction happening. So it turns out you have to go to the back of the and that's
where
you
drive through from one parking lot to the next parking lot.
Yeah, and that's where we found the store. But it's a cute little store. They had a little bit of a sale section, so they had some yarns that were 15% off.
See, I never saw that.
Yeah,
I got to chatting with the owner.
You did. That's where I was hanging out, though. And so I got this. It's the Loom original silk yarn. And I got this because there was a sample there made out of this, and it was so pretty. It almost looked like, almost like fishnet. Mm-hmm. But it was just a tiny little like scarflet, and I was like, I could make a tiny little scarflet. So I just got some of this, but it's a textured silk, so you can see that it's like kind of thick, thin, And, you know, I like any kind of yarn that comes with its own texture. So we'll see what I end up doing with this, but I just want to make a cute little thing to like throw around your neck, or even you could tie it on a handbag or whatever.
Like
just kind of like a twilly, just a versatile accessory. So
I was on a circular kick by the time we got to Luv2Knit. So I got this hot pink. I would have gotten.
Is that the same? That's a different yarn from that one.
Yeah, slightly, but I think they'll be able to work together. I would have gotten the hot pink at the other store, but they didn't have the right shade.
Mm-hmm.
They had an off shade, and I really wanted a poppy one. So these are going to play together. Yes.
That's a lot.
It is. But what I plan to do is embroider a design on this field of orange.
Okay, I can see that.
And I'll be using my new book, and I'll have a really fun, brightly colored t-shirt for the summer.
So when we were leaving,
one last thing.
Oh, you have an
Yeah. The owner of, and forgive me, I'm terrible with names. The owner of Luv2Knit, she also does some nonprofit work. She sees knitting as therapeutic. So she does classes of knitting as therapy for various, she works with school districts, she works with various organizations. And one of the things she does to raise money for that effort is she sells $5 books. And the money from the book sales goes to her nonprofit. So I got one of her $5 book. This is a knitter's template, Easy Steps to Great Fitting Garments. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
More excellent knitting resources.
Yes, more excellent knitting resources that you could also use.
Mm-hmm. Now I was just saying when we left, you were looking for your phone.
Yeah.
We were looking for a cell phone. And it turns out she left it back at Stitch Central.
I did.
So we called them and they had it. So we had to drive back to Stitch Central to go pick up Lisa's phone. And I was really tired. I was not looking forward to that. It was only like 10 minutes away.
Yeah, it was actually quick to get there.
It was just our day.
Yeah.
And you can tell when you're just starting to like, because we brought food again. So we ate in Stitch Central's parking lot.
Yeah, we did.
But
can I tell you, it's so nice to bring food when you're on a trek like this, because I don't know about you guys, but I think we go a little irrational and we don't stop really. And if we can just find somewhere to sit, break out food and not have to hunt for food, I think for us it's harder to hunt for food than to hunt through the yarn store.
And day 2, I thought I would be less tired because we were going to less stores. And no, because you know what? I was still Thursdays tired when Friday started.
Yes.
And then I added Fridays tired to that. So, yeah. But just manage your energy, drink, eat.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. But yeah, so we went back to, we went to store 3, store 4, then back to 3, and then we headed home.
And I'm so glad that I think you must have gotten some footage. I don't know how we got the footage.
Yeah, I took some video in Luv2Knit.
Yeah, so she got the footage from Luv2Knit that you guys saw. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to the video here. But I was really tired by the time we got to Stitch Central. So some of the footage, which I was able to not use, was completely cockeyed. I was like, oh no,
because she was holding her phone and didn't realize she still had it recording because she was just that tired.
And I think that's why I ended up leaving it on the counter when I paid for my things, because I was just a little far gone by then.
A little bit. But still, overall, we had a good time.
We had a blast.
However, yarn crawls in general as a concept are very challenging to my low consumption ideal that I am working towards. So when I tell you I didn't fell off the low consumption wagon, I still got the wheel marks on my back, y'all. And all you can do is reset. That was the plan. So, there's the wool walk next month, and we're not even attempting to go to like a bunch of stores. Right now we're just thinking about going to the 2 stores we haven't been to yet. And I have set a budget for that because a yarn crawl is not something you can do every month.
Nope.
That would be crazy. But between, buying at all of these stores and then over the 2 days, we actually used like about 3/4 of a tank of gas. So it just kind of all the things I'm trying to be mindful of and minimize the impact of went out the window.
But it is a special event. And this is my take on it. It's a special event. Like you said, we do not go to yarn crawls all the time. We're not even going to the yarn stores all the time. And if you go a little buck wild once a year, I don't think it's that big a deal. But
I am trying to keep my consumption below a certain level. So I felt conflicted as we were, progressing through the yarn stores because it's just not a low consumption event. I mean, they have raffles and to encourage you to go to all of the stores, and each store has its own raffle to encourage you to make a purchase. And so you really you have to bring that mindset that says, I'm not going to spend over a certain amount, or I'm not going to visit all of these stores. I went ahead and went to all of these stores because I'd never seen any of these stores before. They were all completely new to me, but the fever has cooled a little bit. And that's how we ended up staying home Saturday, because it was also St. Patrick's Day weekend and we thought Philly might be a little wild. So when we were driving home Friday, I was like, guys, these yarn stores in Philadelphia, they're still going to be there. Like, we don't have to go tomorrow. So we ended up just canceling our Saturday plans, which I think was a good idea because that was just, 5 less stores worth of spending that we ended up doing. So if you are also thinking about, low consumption, understand your triggers. Crawls for me are apparently a trigger. And just have a plan, a realistic plan, like one that you think you can actually put into effect, whether it is only buying one skein in each store or shopping for a specific project like Mom was doing, or setting a hard financial cap on what you're buying, or looking to buy things that aren't necessarily yarn. So you could buy stitch markers or, things that just cost less.
Except my book didn't cost less.
It did not.
But I was moderating my spending because I knew I had one item that was going to be costly that I wanted to buy. And for me, I'm always looking for my tools, or if I have a project coming up. So I went with projects in mind that I needed specific things for. And I went with the hope of finding them because these are new stores to me. So I didn't know what would be in there. And I'm really happy that we did get to so many because now we know what the craft store landscape is. Because Philadelphia is not far from us. None of these stores were like super far away.
No.
So they're realistic to get to. They all have websites. But now I have a little map in my mind. Oh, if I need X, Y, or Z, this is where I can go.
Now I have 2 new places for fabric if I want to buy fabric. So.
And we have broken up a little bit with Joanne.
That's a whole other story. Next video.
Okay. So I really wanted to find places to replace what I would normally get at Joanne.
Yeah. But all in all, had a really great time. Definitely glad I went. But I'm also thinking about kind of like offsetting the spending I did on the crawl, and so just kind of buying less now throughout the year. And so I'm not gonna like institute like a hard like yarn ban. I'm just saying over the course of like say the next month, the next 30 days, the goal is to not buy any yarn for 30 days and then evaluate, is there something I need? Is there something I want? And just kind of take it step by step and not just say, I'm not buying any yarn. Because what happens is you tell yourself, no. And then it builds. And all of a sudden there's a yarn explosion. So we want to avoid the yarn explosion. So I'm just going to anytime I think I want to buy yarn, I'm just going to remember all of this I just purchased.
That's another thing. I'm going to be focusing on working with what I already bought. So I already have a project that I'm going to work out of my new book with. I have a project I'm going to use that yarn gauge on. The yarn I bought, they already have destinations. So that's how I'm going to refocus myself, because I am on many a mailing list for yarn.
Oh no, mailing lists are the devil.
And right now I'm not even opening those emails, because I'm not going to tempt myself.
Because I signed up for lists at most of the stores.
Me too. Me too.
And it got to the point where as I was writing down my email address, I was like, you shouldn't do that. And I did it anyway.
You know what? Make a rule so they go to a folder so you don't have to look at them all the time.
But yeah, it's just something that's always got to be on your mind, because the messaging is, buy, spend, consume.
And I don't even look at it from the point of overconsumption, but we were talking about this yesterday, I want these stores to exist. So even if I just drop a little in the till, I wanted to drop a little in the till at as many stores as I could. So even when I didn't have a planned purchase that I was thinking about anyway, I got some needle points, or I got a knitting needle, because yarn is a tough business and I want these stores to be there for me. So I wanted to drop a little something here and there. Although, if the budget was unlimited, it could have been a blowout.
Yeah. There were yarns left behind. There were.
I was looking at things at Doylestown. I was looking at things everywhere, because one of the things I have to say is the curation was immaculate at all of the stores, and they all had different yarn personalities. So you can literally find all sorts of different yarns, and they had something for everybody, because Crystal and I are diametrically opposed to all the types of yarn that we get. And there was something for her at every store, and there was something for me, plenty for me actually, at most stores.
I recommend all 11 stores, just not all at once. But so I guess we'll put links to all of the stores' websites in the down bar.
And if you haven't seen the vlog, I'll put a link to the vlog too.
Yeah, that was our yarn crawl, and it was great fun.
It was.
But yeah, I think that's all we got this week.
That's it for this week.
This was a bit of a chatty one, y'all. But we will see you next week. So stay stitching.
Bye-bye.